Today we're taking a look at what I think may be one of the weirdest interview shows I have seen on YouTube, and it's an interview show going by the name of Pucker Up. Now, if you don't know what Pucker Up is, it's this little podcast show, I guess you could say, that's being hosted by Jolie Live. And in the podcast show, Jolie pretty much interviews a bunch of teenage influencers, or just influencers in general, but particularly just mainly teenagers. And I guess she gives them sour candy, and they have to eat it if they don't answer questions about their relationship or something, or about who they have a crush on and stuff like that. Now, obviously, I could really care less what the show is about. My main issue is the person hosting it. Jolie Live is 27 years old. Let me just say that real quick. She is pushing 30 years old, interviewing fucking, 17-year-olds about their love life. I can't be the only one that finds that extremely weird. There's gotta be someone out there who actually agrees with me with the fact that I just think that it's just odd. Now, obviously, you guys can think whatever the hell you want to think. This is just my opinion. I just think that someone her age shouldn't be interviewing teenagers about who they have a crush on, because it's just simply straight up weird. She is almost 30 years old. Most of the people she's interviewing aren't even 20 yet. So obviously I find it weird that a grown adult is interviewing teenagers about their love life. And sorry if that offends some of you guys, but I just simply find it weird. But nothing is more weird than the people who actually are invested into this shit, dude. That is right. There are people out there who actually find this show entertaining. I don't see what the hype is about, because me personally, this just reminds me of middle school, dude. This is genuinely like the most corniest shit I've ever seen, and I don't understand how you guys can actually be invested into the shit and find it entertaining. And I don't think I'll ever figure out how people find it entertaining, and I don't think I want to, because all in all, it's just a very stupid concept, bro. Because most of these relationships, they're just simply a show for the camera. They're not actually real. Most of these teenage influencers dating, it is 99.9% a show for the camera, and the 0.01% is genuine, but it's not gonna last more than 2 weeks. You guys gotta remember, these are still teenagers. These guys are in high school, bro. 9 times out of 10, they're not actually going to last. And that's the sad truth, because let me remind you, they're teenagers. They're just simply famous teenagers, all right? But that doesn't make them not teenagers. They'll go through the same things other teenagers go through that aren't famous, and they're not any different. The only thing that makes those teenagers different than other teenagers is the fact that they just have a bunch of clout. Aside from that, they are no different than anyone else their age. So 9 times out of 10, none of those relationships will actually work out. And I know I'm sitting here like a hater, dude. I know I sound like a fucking hater, but honestly, dude, let's go back a year ago and come back to now, and how many of those relationships actually worked out between those influencers, huh? Hardly any of them are still going on today. You want to know why? Because half of them were a show for the camera, and the other half were genuine, but obviously, with their age in mind, it never actually worked out. So it may sound like I'm hating, but it's the sad truth. So aside from that, that's all I gotta say. So, yeah.